Trusting in God is a foundational principle that offers peace, strength, and purpose in life. It is a commitment to believe in His plans and rely on His wisdom, even when circumstances appear uncertain or challenging. Trusting in God does not mean living a life free of troubles, but it means facing life's difficulties with confidence, knowing that God is in control and has a purpose for everything. To trust in God is to surrender our anxieties and doubts, placing our faith in His perfect knowledge and timing. The Bible reminds us in Proverbs 3:5-6 to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. This verse highlights the essence of trust, letting go of our limited perspective and believing in God's greater plan. God's plan is rooted in His infinite wisdom and love. Unlike human plans, which are often influenced by uncertainty and fear, God's intentions are always purposeful and good. Jeremiah 29:11 states, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." This assurance brings comfort and confidence, even when we cannot see the path ahead. Trusting in God also requires patience. His timing may not align with our desires, but it is always perfect. There are moments when we may question why certain events occur, especially during trials and hardships. However, these challenges often serve as opportunities for growth, strengthening our faith and deepening our reliance on Him. Romans 8:28 encourages us with the truth that in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. One of the most significant obstacles to trusting God is fear. Fear arises when we feel out of control or uncertain about the future. However, God invites us to cast our anxieties upon Him. Philippians 4:6-7 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." When we choose to trust in God, we exchange our fear for His peace. Trusting in God also means relinquishing the need to understand everything. Human comprehension is limited, while God's wisdom is infinite. Isaiah 55:8-9 reminds us of this truth. "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." Accepting this divine perspective allows us to find rest in uncertainty, knowing that God is sovereign. Faith is the foundation of trust in God. It is the belief that God is who He says He is and that He will fulfill His promises. Hebrews 11:1 defines faith as confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. This confidence is not based on our circumstances, but on God's unchanging character. To cultivate this trust, it is essential to build a personal relationship with God through prayer, reading His Word, and reflecting on His faithfulness. The more we understand His nature, the easier it becomes to trust Him. Reflecting on past experiences where God provided, protected, or guided us also strengthens our trust. Testimonies of His faithfulness serve as reminders that He remains constant in all situations. Pray regularly, communicating with God openly and honestly. Share your fears, hopes, and desires with Him. Trust grows through consistent and sincere prayer. Read the Bible as it is a source of truth, and encouragement. Reading scriptures that affirm his faithfulness will reinforce your trust. Acknowledge that God is in control and surrender your need to manage every outcome. Practice gratitude by focusing on the blessings in your life. Gratitude shifts your perspective from fear to faith. Surround yourself with faithful believers, as being part of a supportive Christian community provides encouragement and accountability. Reflect on God's faithfulness by keeping a journal of answered prayers and moments where you have experienced his guidance. This will serve as a reminder of his presence and goodness. It is often during hardships that our trust in God is most tested. Trials can lead to doubt and fear, but they also provide opportunities to grow in faith. James chapter 1, 2-3 encourages believers to consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. When facing challenges, remember that God is with you. He promises to never leave nor forsake you. Deuteronomy 31:6. Lean on him, seek his guidance, and allow his peace to comfort you. Trusting God does not eliminate pain, but it brings the assurance that he is working through your circumstances for a greater purpose. Trusting God brings profound peace, joy, and hope. It allows you to navigate life's uncertainties with confidence, knowing that you are never alone. Isaiah 26:3 promises, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you." Moreover, trust in God opens doors to divine provision and guidance. Psalm 23:1 declares, "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing." When you trust God as your provider, you experience his abundance in both physical and spiritual aspects. Finally, trusting in God strengthens your relationship with him. It fosters a deeper reliance on his presence and a greater understanding of his love. As you walk in trust, you become a testimony of God's faithfulness to others. Patience is an essential component of trust. While waiting for God's plans to unfold, it is easy to grow weary or discouraged. However, God uses these seasons of waiting to mold our character and draw us closer to him. Every moment of patience refines our spirit, teaching us endurance and resilience. When we practice patience, we acknowledge that God's timing is perfect and that he is always working behind the scenes for our benefit. Although it may be difficult to understand why delays happen, trusting in God means believing that every delay serves a greater purpose. Just as a seed takes time to grow into a thriving plant, our faith deepens as we wait upon the Lord. Each day of waiting becomes an opportunity to strengthen our relationship with him, finding joy in the assurance that he is faithful. Even when the answers seem distant, we can rest in the knowledge that God is aligning every detail for our good. By cultivating patience, we learn to release control, allowing God to lead us toward his best for our lives. Through patience, we not only grow spiritually, but also experience the profound peace that comes from trusting completely in God's divine plan.